We're going to continue our conversation with probability and add a couple of new concepts in. So our first one is called the complement. And we've got some rules written down right here, and I'll kind of walk you through those. Together, the probability of something happening and something not happening, and the complement is it's not, have to equal 100%. For instance, if there's a 60% chance of rain, that means there's a 40% chance of not rain, because 60 and 40 together equal 100%. Now 100% is the same as 1. If I were just going to write 100% out without a percent, moving that decimal place, I would get 1. So that's how we get the rules that are written up there. So let's use those rules to answer a couple questions. So there's that rain, like I said before. So a 45% chance of rain. We want to know the probability that it will not rain. So that's going to be 1 minus 0.45. That gives me 0.55 or 55%. For the next one, the probability of winning a raffle is really, really tiny. It's 0.0006. So not winning is going to be 1 minus all those zeros. And then 3 is going to use that cards that we were looking at in the last section. So there are 4 kings. So the probability of drawing a king is 4 out of 52. And since it says not, I'm going to do 1 minus. And it did ask me to leave it in a fraction. So we can type that in our calculator, but we do want to reduce it all the way down. And your calculator can do that for you. And if you're not sure how to do it, you can look on YouTube and just type your calculator name, like TI-83 reducing fractions or TI-36 Pro reducing fractions. Or if you want to, you can email me and let me know your type of calculator. And I can tell you those directions. All right, let's continue on. Complements are pretty straightforward. And now let's talk about odds. Now, odds are very similar to probabilities. They actually have the same information, just in a slightly different format. I tell people it's kind of like when you're having to do a works cited page. In some classes, you might have to use APA. In other classes, you might have to use MLA format, or there are even other formats as well. They have the same information. We can find the articles that we have to reference in our papers, but they're just formatted a little bit differently, and that's how odds are. So if the probability, the denominator is always the total number of outcomes. Like in our card example, we use 52. The odds do not use the total. So that's the difference. Instead, they're going to think about the things that are favorable to unfavorable is the technical term we use to it. But sometimes that confuses people, so I just say the good stuff to the bad stuff. Combined together, that does have to equal the total. So let's look at an example of that one. So in this example 4, there are 200 total tickets. Matt's going to get 10 of them. We want one of those 10 to win. So that means the 200 is the total. The 10 are the good stuff, or you could say favorable. And that means that there are 190 that are the bad tickets that we don't want to win. Or you could call that the unfavorable. So it's always going to be favorable to unfavorable, or good to bad. So I'm not going to use that 200 in my answer. We do want to reduce answers when possible. Your calculator will do it. I know it's not written like a fraction, but treat it like a fraction. Just type 10 over 190 in, reduce down using the method that your calculator uses. Remember, you can look up, see how that does, to get my final answer of 1 to 19. So here's another example. The odds in favor of rolling a 5. So in a regular dice, we have 6 numbers. There is 1 5, and there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things that are not a 5. So that one's the number 5, and this is everything that wasn't the number 5. We can't reduce that down. Similar, rolling a 2 or 3. I've got 6 numbers. 2 or 3, there are 2 of those numbers. And then there's 1, oops, I forgot. 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers that are not 2 or 3. Now 2 to 4 I can reduce down. Just type 2/4 in your calculator, and that's going to give me my reduced answer of 1/2.